Welcome everybody to the Wake Up Call channel. Over the years I've covered professional wrestling because it's just filled with all sorts of satanic indoctrination, satanic characters, satanic symbols, and well, pretty much everything you could possibly imagine. I've broken it down many times over. I should say another YouTuber has broken it down, wink wink. But I want to cover this guy who used to go by the name of Aleister Black. Yes, Aleister Black. The character was named after Aleister Crowley, and I'll show you if you're not familiar later on in the video. But he goes by the name now of Malachi Black because I guess he switched wrestling companies. So he switched where he puts his underwear on and puts oil all over his body. He switched companies, so he had to switch his name from Aleister to Malachi. But it's the same character in essence. At the other company, it's the same Satanist because, you know, his whole body is covered in satanic sigils that I'll show you. And he's playing the same character, right? And you might remember this guy. I'm sure most of you don't. But this is a guy who openly worships Aleister Crowley, openly is playing this role of this Satanist. And now he's actually had his blood baptism on national television. That's right, his blood baptism. As you can see how conveniently on the screen, his one eye is covered and his other eye isn't. I mean, you can't make up how convenient that is, right? That he was able to rub it off his... I mean, it's just incredible. It's incredible how staged it is, how obvious it is. But this guy just was... blood was just randomly dumped on a wrestler in the ring, which is a common theme in wrestling now. They've just desensitized people. Yeah, let's just give people blood baptisms right in the middle of the ring. We'll dump blood on them. What does that have to do with wrestling? Nothing to do with wrestling. But the audience out there, again, it's a very easy audience to manipulate. So here's him getting a bloodbath on national TV and nobody really having a clue what it is, but just going along eating their popcorn thinking that this is normal because they've been so desensitized to gore and satanic rituals that they can't see one right in front of their faces.
What the hell was that? Holy hell. Look at that, man. What looks like a crime scene in the ring.
So you have to be pretty dumb not to realize that that's a satanic ritual taking place right in front of your eyes, right? I mean, the guy's literally covered in blood. Now, I've mentioned in the past, his name is Aleister Black in the WWF, WWE. He goes by the name Malachi Black in the new company that he's in. Obviously, clearly, I would say he's a has-been, but he's a never-been and never gonna be is really the term. And you can see the Baphomet symbol here. Here's a pose of him doing the Baphomet. You can see on his coat the sigil of Satan. Okay, it's the Anton LaVey's cross, the Leviathan cross. You know, we're supposed to just see that and be like, well, it's part of his character, even though this stuff's all tattooed all over this guy's body. Now, it's important to note, I know a lot of you don't remember, I've covered this guy in the past, but the picture you're seeing on the screen, I can't actually show you the video clip. But this guy, of course, it's amazing how like prototypical, you know, satanic, liberal kind of people are. And they're always gaming and stream gaming. But he's a gamer too, of course. And he was doing a stream and he actually mentioned this channel, a call for something. I forget the guy's name, but he sounded a lot like, like this. So he mentioned the channel and he talked about how he went to the WWE to get that YouTuber's channel terminated. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah, he talked about it in a live stream. He mentioned the name of the channel and he said, the guy was saying I was a Satanist and he was exposing all of my tattoos and all the stuff I was doing with the one eye symbolism, you know, stuff that anybody should be able to see. They shouldn't need me to point it out, you know, because you can't hide what's marked all over your body. But of course, these guys think that they can because all they have to do is come out and tell you that a tattoo means something different than what it means. And then the sheeple who love them will believe whatever they say. So he openly admitted that he got this YouTuber's channel. He tried to get it shut down, and eventually it did get shut down. Not from his, him getting it shut down because he's a nothing in today's society. But he really was trying at the time to get this big bad YouTuber at hundreds of thousands of subs and got millions of views per month shut down because his feelings were hurt that he was getting exposed as a Satanist. And what I was exposing were the sigils and the tattoos all over him, including that spirally one on his arm, which I think everybody out there should know by this point what it means. And if you don't, well, you could join the website and learn about what it means. But like I said, he's got the sigil of Satan on him. It's interesting to note that tattoo with that hand right on his chest, right? I mean, it's got an eyeball right in the middle, so we all know what the eyeball means. But a lot of people don't know that that's the Hamsa tattoo, which is Kabbalah. Yeah. Does he look like somebody who would be reading the Kabbalah? Well, not what they try to tell you of somebody who tries to, they try to tell you that the Kabbalah, this is this wonderful book that a certain group of people in Israel read, right? Well, actually, it's a Freemasonic book. It's a satanic book. It's Babylonian. It's about black magic. So figures that he'd have that tattooed on his chest. I'm sure anybody out there that says anything against Israel, he'll say is anti-you-know-what. But it's interesting to note that he won't tell you what the tattoo on his chest means, nor why he has it, because they don't want you to know that the Kabbalistic teachings are the Freemasonic teachings and he's a Freemason, right? They don't want you to know that. So we've even seen this guy in the past have one of his, his wrestling, this isn't gay, by the way, have one of his wrestling coats with the Tower of Babel on the back. Isn't that crazy? You can see the Freemasonic. There's a Freemasonic photo right here, but the Freemasonic eye, the all-seeing eye at the top. The Freemasons use that logo. That's why I say Freemasonic, of the eyeball in the sun, more so than celebrities do. So you can even see the Freemasonic ties. But the Tower of Babel right on his coat. He's not a Satanist or anything, though. That's a conspiracy. He even uses sigils for his name when he comes down to the ring. He's done the all-seeing eye symbolism. He puts black paint under his one eye. He's wore the eye patch over one eye. And again, he just had so for those of you that know, he just had a bloodbath on national TV. So for those of you that go, I don't get it. What's satanic because it's just blood? Okay, so Christians are baptized, right? Baptized in water, right? John the Baptist, baptism, okay? This is a satanic baptism. They're baptized in blood. So when they go through a satanic baptism, they denounce Christ, they break a cross, which makes the peace sign, and they're baptized in blood. So now the world has gotten so insane, these people do it right out on national TV. Right? Now, this might have just been theater. I'm not saying this is his actual blood baptism because I'm pretty certain that he's already been baptized in Satanism, but they did it out on national TV, and that's how they normalize it. Then somebody wants to try it at home. All right? That's how this stuff gets normalized. Oh, I like that wrestler. He did a blood bath. Let's do one in our backyard. That's how it gets normalized. And people out there go, no, it's not. Yeah, it is. And they've been doing it in the WWF for a long time. This is a group of, I guess, gay wrestlers who do blood baptisms back in the 90s or the 2000s, called the Brood, right? They pretended to be gay vampires. And if they didn't pretend to be gay, well, they don't really need to pretend to be. I mean, you could tell me what this looks like. But they would give people blood baptisms. You could see other guys in the WWF getting blood baptisms. And we've seen this with celebrities, and I've talked about it. There's a repetition and a pattern here, right? If this was art, why would they all be doing it, right? If you were a artist, so let's say you wrote music, okay? You were like at home, you're like, I want to be the next big writer. Would you write, so if you got a pen and paper, with the first verses of a song, you were like, I want to write a song about how much I love America. I'm a patriot. Well, would the main chorus of the song be Born in the USA? No, right? Because you'd say, well, there's already a song Born in the USA, right? Gone down a dead man's land. If that was the first line, and then you were like, hey, and your friends came over, you're like, look, this is, all right, I got a song that great, Steve's got a song. He wants to sing it to us. Okay, Steve, ready? Go. And he's like, down in a dead. And they go, well, why aren't you just singing Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA? You'd be like, oh, right. It is kind of so, right. Why don't you write something original? You're trying to be a musician. You got to do your own thing, right? That's how we're supposed to look at artists, are we not? Right? If we all started singing other people's songs, so why did the celebrities just do this, right? Why is Eminem in a bloodbath? Is that original? Is that artistic? When seconds later, his enemy, Machine Gun Kelly, is doing a blood baptism, right? How many times have we seen bands like Slipknot do these bloodbaths out in the open? And this is something that happens at a lot of these concerts, by the way, if you don't know. These bands, a lot of these bands, like, obviously you have to be pretty dumb to look at them and not think that they're satanic, Slipknot being one of them. They actually do this to the audience live in concert. They give them blood bath baptisms. And they don't tell them that, but they dump blood on them. And these sheep will just stand there and put their hands up and think it's the neatest thing ever, right? So I've covered on TV shows like Big Brother. Just couldn't be more obvious. The show's called Big Brother, right? They did a blood baptism, bathtub in the blood on TV on the checkerboard floor. The video's on the website. We've seen the Kardashians, doing the blood rituals right out in the open, bathing in blood. Everyone's like, that's just for Halloween, right? Even covered Vladimir Putin, who apparently, of course, this is out in the open that he does this, but nobody, they're marketing him to conservatives, so they don't want, they'll just ignore me saying this, right? Because they're like, oh, Putin's great. Don't realize they're under hypnosis. They only think he's great because they want them to think he's great because it's part of the deception. But he openly does bloodbaths. Now they say this is for his this is like his Viagra. He does this, it gets him, gives him a little adrenaline down there, right? So, you're supposed to just dismiss it. He's a Christian who bathes in blood, right? He pretends to be a Christian dictator. Interesting, right? We've also seen Poppy, who I've covered. Poppy, another one, very easy to see. Bathing in the blood out in the open. Maybe one of the most ridiculous ones that I've seen, that I've covered, which is also on the website, is the Microsoft commercial, where Microsoft had, Microsoft, Bill Gates, had a guy this makes zero sense about a Microsoft product, was in a bathtub eating pizza of all things. We know what pizza represents with the youngsters, in a bathtub filled with blood. Now, they tell you that it's like Tabasco or ketchup because, well, if they literally came out and said, hey, it's blood. If the guy had an IV draining blood into there, people might get a little suspicious. Apparently, people don't get suspicious when he's in a bathtub, clearly of blood, and then they just go, it's Tabasco, it's ketchup. You're supposed to just dismiss it while he's eating pizza, right? It's incredible. This is stuff they get away with right out in the open. It's disgusting, right? And in other cases, if you haven't noticed, they do the baptisms now with black goo. Now, the black goo represents the transformation that's happening, the graphene oxide, okay? Transformation of human beings, okay? Getting stuff in your skin, black goo, okay? We see it a lot. We see pretty much every celebrity doing it, but they've done the blood baptisms on TV for the WWF as well, or WWE, right? This is The Miz, somebody who's heavily featured now, or, having his black goo baptism on TV, right? He's not the only one. Look at the repetition, right? They just keep doing the same stuff and nobody even realizes, like, it's art. Right, here's Seth Rollins covered in black goo. Seth Rollins, one of the most satanic guys out there that I've covered. The guy is just atrocious, but has a following somehow. Don't ask me. But we've seen him with the Baphomet pentagram right on his shirt. Black Craft Cult, which is a company that sells all sorts of satanic merchandise. I've covered them, one of my first videos, even though I'm brand new here. He had openly, wears coats with the pentagram, the Baphomet. Nobody notices. They're all desensitized. We've seen Billy Barfbag Eilish. Oh, right, that's Lady Gaga's name. We've seen Billy Boy. That's right, Billy Boy. Why do I say boy? Well, take a guess. Covered in the black goo as well, even with the wings of the fallen angel, telling you how they're mixing human beings' genetic codes with the fallen angels technology here. Fallen angels, you know what. So we've seen Greta Thunberg, right, pretending, of course, that it's oil. Right, covered in a black, purplish goo. So it's repetitive, right? They do these baptisms out in the open. That's all that this is. Now, I'm not saying that this is his actual baptism because I think it's very clear that this guy has shown his allegiance to Lucifer over the years from just the character alone, right? Aleister Black is really Aleister Crowley. Malachi Black's his new name. The guy's just covered in, and that's what he got really upset about, is pointing out his tattoos. So then they feel when you actually call them out on things that they don't expect you to see. Like I said, they've trained the human being in today's society not to look at signs and symbols. But back in the day, it was always signs and symbols that ruled the world. So people would see a sign on a company or wherever, and they would know what it meant. Now it's all signs and symbols in front of us, and only these people with the secret hidden knowledge are supposed to be able to recognize it, which is why they silence people like me over and over and over again. Because they want you to see Aleister Black on TV with all his tattoos, where it's very clear that he's a Satanist, and they want you to think, oh, he's just artistic. He's an artist, right? And then when you point out, hey, wait a minute. He really likes eyeballs. He likes spirals. And then you point out, what does the spiral mean? Right? What does the demon mean right on his chest? Or what does that hand with an eyeball on him mean? Then people go, oh, wait a minute. Wait, it's Kabbalah? Is this guy Jew? Is he what? Oh, well, no, he's not out in the open. So then why would he have that? Oh, well, some of the teach. Oh, well, keep going, Malachi. Tell us about it. Tell us about the Kabbalah and how those secret teachings are taught in Freemasonry. Tell us, please. Oh, right. He can't tell you that. So then he goes to his boss, Vince McMahon at the time. Of course, do I need to even say anything about Vince McMahon and the ritual that he's going through right now? There's a lot of truth to it. Vince McMahon sacrificed quite the bit of wrestlers over at the WWE that we've seen fall from rafters. We've seen guys dropped on their heads from the roof and no criminal investigations, which is utter insanity. We've seen, what else have we seen at the WWE? All right, Chris Benoit, the wrestler, the stuff done, and people believe that these stories are real. That these people, it's unbelievable. So Vince McMahon, of course, he went to him and asked him. He said it in his live stream. He went to him and asked WWE officials to go take care of this YouTube channel. So maybe they did have something to do with it. Maybe it just took YouTube a while to get around to it. WWE's probably got I mean, I don't know if they have the most subscribers on YouTube. I'll look in real time. Why not? I never do that, but WWE, YouTube. I try to do my videos improv. Like I write down notes, but I don't try to edit it where I'm like, Anyway, I'm not going to edit this. So WWE, 101 million people watch this. 101 million people. And really what it's about is the views more so. But, right, so it's not that great. They get 100,000, pretty much 100,000 views a video. But they do upload probably every single second, which some people say that I do. But I'm constantly just trying to work. I mean, the time's running short, so got to get as much content out as I can to help people out. I'm a kind of person, I'm all in or I'm all out. When I'm doing it, I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to be like, well, I'm only going to put up one today and then I'll save it for tomorrow. I just put them up because I don't even know if I'll wake up and have a channel tomorrow. So if I make the video, I'll put it up. That's how it is. I'm not trying to smother people with content. I know people are like, geez, this guy's making a lot of content. Well, guess what? I care. I've always cared. I've always tried to put out as much content as I can. My foot's on the gas. So we can't take our foot off the gas because they're not taking their foot off the gas. So anyway, Aleister Black, Malachi Black, having a bloodbath. But because the wrestling fans have seen this over and over, they think it has something to do with a character, right? Oh, it's Edge. The wrestler Edge is doing it. He was in the Brood. He's doing a bloodbath. How about just the notion of what does that have to do with anything, right? Bathing in blood and having blood dumped on you is the equivalent of a baptism with water for Christians. It's a satanic bloodbath. The origins are very easy for you to see. So what is a wrestling character who pretends to be vampires? Right? They pretend that they're vampires. That was the character in the WWF. The Brood, they dress up like vampires, gay vampire. Well, I don't know if they openly say they're gay, but you don't need them to openly say it. Just use your own eyes. They come out there, they pretend to be vampires. Okay, so what does that have to do with dumping blood on other wrestlers? Does dumping blood on the other wrestler, does it knock them out where they could pin them and win the fake match? What's the point of it? Nobody asked that. Nobody goes, all right. And where have we seen, why are bloodbaths, why is this some normal thing with vampires now? This isn't like, stuff from movies with vampires. So they're just like, oh, it's just a wrestling thing. Oh, it's just a wrestling thing, right? No, it's a Satanist thing, right? Eminem, Machine Gun Kelly, Vladimir Putin, Poppy, the Kardashians, they all do it, but they don't want you to realize what it really is, right? They just want to normalize it. They want you to look at it and go do one in your backyard. I'm sure there are people that are doing it. They're playing make-believe. They pretend that they're the wrestler. Like, I'm going to dress up a 10-year-old as a wrestler. Mom, can you go get me fake blood? Well, then eventually they aren't doing fake blood. They're doing real blood. That's how this whole thing works. I thank you for being here, everybody. Hope you're all well. God bless you as always and your families.